Childhood is often seen as a time of innocence, exploration, and simplicity, a world of make-believe, play, and carefree days unburdened by the complexities of adulthood. For most, this period offers a soft cushion from the realities of life, a chance to engage freely with friends and embrace life's experiences with a sense of wonder and joy. However, for Sigma males, childhood presents a different experience altogether. Their early years come with an unusual depth and awareness that set them apart from others in ways they could neither understand nor control. While other kids are busy following the rhythm of youth, Sigma males find themselves grappling with a unique set of internal and external struggles. This journey is less about fitting in and more about reconciling an innate sense of independence, depth, and curiosity with a world that doesn't always understand them. Childhood for Sigma males is not just a phase. It's an initiation into a life of quiet strength and independence, marked by the struggle of trying to understand both themselves and the world around them. Here are the 7 childhood struggles every Sigma males went through. 1. The burden of knowing too much, too soon. While other kids were enjoying the innocent simplicity of childhood, Sigma kids found themselves faced with a world that made far too much sense, yet no sense at all. They noticed things, the strained tones between adults, the hypocrisy in do as I say, not as I do, the false smiles masking frustration. It wasn't that they wanted to understand these things, they simply did. Early on, this hyper-awareness became a double-edged sword, giving them insights that set them apart, but also left them with a weight that others their age couldn't begin to grasp. For a Sigma, the burden of knowing too much too soon meant that childhood innocence felt fleeting, like a coat they could never keep on for long, no matter how much they wished to. This unfiltered awareness didn't stop at family dynamics or adult hypocrisy. It extended to the broader world. Sigma children picked up on societal contradictions, seeing the vast gap between ideals and reality. They recognized the flaws in authority and the hidden motives behind rules, which often made it hard for them to accept things at face value. This early disillusionment sowed seeds of skepticism, making them question not just people but the very structures around them. While it made them wise beyond their years, it also left them feeling disconnected from the carefree outlook others their age naturally held. 2. Difficulty expressing emotions the right way. Emotions for a Sigma were never straightforward. In a world where everyone seemed to understand the unwritten rules of showing joy, sadness, or anger, they always felt like they were reading from a different script. Expressing an emotion wasn't about simply feeling it. There was a nagging need to figure out the right way to express it so that others would understand without judging. This struggle often led to bottling things up because, in their minds, it was easier to deal with emotions internally than to risk letting them out wrong. Over time, this suppression created a sense of isolation, as if their emotional world was a language no one else could speak, a painful price to pay for simply being wired differently. Instead of finding healthy outlets for their emotions, Sigmas often retreated into intellectual pursuits, viewing their feelings as puzzles to be solved rather than experiences to be felt. They began rationalizing emotions, breaking them down into logical pieces, in an attempt to control what they couldn't express openly. This approach made them skilled at emotional self-analysis, but often left them even more isolated, as their intense inner life had no external release. Over time, this habit of intellectualizing emotions created a barrier that distanced them not only from others, but also from fully experiencing the vulnerability that makes human connection possible. 3. Feeling old before their time. Sigma males are born with a kind of timelessness about them, almost as if they're out of sync with the world around them. Even as kids, they had interests, thoughts, and concerns that were worlds away from the typical childhood experience. They felt like old souls navigating a world that often seemed frivolous and surface level. This feeling didn't come from any desire to be mature. Rather, it was a natural byproduct of their depth. While other kids could lose themselves in simple games, a Sigma often felt detached, caught in a contemplative cycle that made them feel older than their years, as though they were silently waiting for the world to catch up to them. Their sense of oldness didn't just set them apart in childhood. It laid the foundation for a future of being misunderstood by those around them. While they often embraced deep questions about life and purpose, this mindset left them ill-prepared for the simpler joys that others so readily embraced. This timeless nature became a sanctuary, allowing them to reflect deeply on life, but keeping them separate from the very experiences that others saw as the essence of youth. 4. Misunderstood intelligence. Being naturally perceptive and intelligent, a Sigma's mind often raced with questions and thoughts that left others, including adults, in awe or more often in discomfort. In school, teachers didn't know whether to label them as gifted or as troublemakers, while other kids either idolized or ignored them. Their intelligence wasn't the straightforward kind that one praised. It was complex and sometimes too layered for easy understanding. Often mistaken as arrogance or aloofness, this intelligence became a point of alienation. Sigmas didn't mean to stand out or make others feel uncomfortable. They just couldn't turn down their own curiosity. And in doing so, they unknowingly set themselves apart. Rather than focusing solely on academics, Sigma children were drawn to questions that didn't fit neatly into school subjects. They were often captivated by abstract ideas, philosophy, human behavior, or the why behind everyday actions. This broader curiosity set them apart from typical book-smart students, marking them as unconventional thinkers in a rigid system. Over time, Sigmas learned to tread carefully, sometimes hiding their intelligence to avoid making others uncomfortable. This left them feeling like they had to downplay their gifts to feel like a normal kid. 5. Early realization of being different, with no blueprint. Sigma males are born aware of their difference, but as kids, they had no idea what it meant or why it existed. There was no roadmap, no label that could neatly explain their nature, and certainly no one who could explain how to navigate a world that felt foreign to them. They were forced to carve out a path with no guidance, figuring out who they were without the affirmations and hand-holding that other kids seemed to get. This early realization made them independent, but also instilled a sense of constant trial and error as they tried to find their own way, knowing all along that theirs was a path they'd walk alone. Without guidance, they became their own mentors, learning to rely on instincts rather than established paths. This autonomy gave them the confidence to explore uncharted territories, but it also made them reluctant to trust others' advice. So they grew wary of conventional wisdom, often feeling that they saw life through a unique lens that most couldn't relate to. 6. The instinct to solve rather than sympathize. Even in childhood, Sigmas preferred solutions over sympathy. When friends or family came to them with problems, they'd instinctively try to fix the issue rather than provide a comforting ear. To a Sigma, this felt logical, as if offering a solution was the best way to help. But other kids, and even adults, didn't always appreciate this approach, often seeing it as emotionally detached or overly analytical. This tendency often left Sigma children misunderstood, as others felt that their empathy was lacking when, in reality, they simply expressed it in a way that was less about feelings and more about action. Their problem-solving nature was born not out of indifference, but a genuine belief that solutions could alleviate pain more effectively than comfort. Yet this approach was often met with confusion or frustration by those seeking emotional support. Over time, Sigmas became selective about who they help, recognizing that not everyone wanted answers. They simply wanted understanding. 7. Sensitivity to injustice. The Sigma's moral compass is wired early and fiercely, meaning they have a visceral reaction to any form of unfairness. Whether it was a teacher playing favorites or a friend being excluded from a game, a Sigma child felt these injustices in a way that went far beyond the typical childhood sense of fairness. The idea of "that's just how things are" never sat right with them. This deep-seated sensitivity often made them the unexpected champion of others, standing up in ways that puzzled adults and peers alike. And yet, this sensitivity also made their own small world feel overwhelming, as they carried the weight of every injustice, whether it directly affected them or not. This hypersensitivity to injustice made it difficult for Sigmas to let things go. When others brushed off wrongdoing as just part of life, Sigmas felt compelled to take a stand, often stepping into situations that others avoided. They struggled with the idea of watching from the sidelines, which made them appear confrontational or overly serious to others. This compulsion to fight for fairness often made them the odd one out, yet it instilled a moral resilience within them that only grew stronger with time. They learned early on that they couldn't turn a blind eye, even if it meant standing alone. If any of these points hit close to home, then you know the path of a Sigma isn't for the faint-hearted. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, and share it with others who might see themselves in these words. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.